Okay, we're going to begin today by revisiting our essential question. I was talking to a group yesterday, and the essential question in this program really runs through every story of that week. And it's a nice thing because it's something we're working on consistently. All right, so what kinds of stories do we tell, and why do they tell them? I'm going to tell you right now, after we do a few activities, I'm going to respond to those questions right on those questions in relation to Kate. So you can be thinking about that as we work through this a little bit. Okay? The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is read a selection from Kate, and there's going to be a specific task that I'm going to ask you to complete. Okay? And it's around the narrator and the setting. Okay, so we're talking about narrating, the narration and the setting. We talked about point of view a little bit, who is actually telling the story. And what I want you to do is focus on that and where the story takes place. So you're just going to reread in your mind, quietly, first paragraph, and you're going to answer those questions. See if you can use evidence from that paragraph about where does the story take place, the setting, and who is telling the story, point of view. Okay? Take a few moments. Go ahead. You need your book. You could read from right here for now. Okay. Like yesterday, you're going to be talking to an elbow partner. All right. So quickly find that elbow partner that you're right next to. If you don't have an elbow partner, show me with a thumb up that you need a little direction to have someone to talk to. Mitchell, do you have a partner? All right. Why don't you work with Greta right there? Okay. So Greta, would you sit up by Mitchell so you guys are on the same level there? Yeah, there's one right next to Mitchell on the other side there. All right, so window partner, you're going to start. You're going to talk to your partner, and your job is to tell where the setting is. Once you've done that, you're going to switch. Clock partner, you're going to tell what you think the point of view is. Once you finish, you can agree or disagree with your partner. All right. All right, let's start with the setting. I think you guys are pretty confident in that. All right, I heard some conversations around that. How about Dominic? What did you guys talk about there?
Well, in setting, I talked about, it was in the neck of the woods and in the pretty American South.
Pretty American South. I like that he used both of examples. Did he use his own words there? He actually used text evidence. He actually used the information and the words from that story. Really nice. Natasha, you have something to add there?
I think it's set back near the time of the Civil War, or maybe probably a little.
Okay. Do you have evidence that supports?
Because it said that this here is a story that takes place back in the days when railroads were still pretty new in the American South.
All right. So Natasha is using what she knows about trains to try to put not only the setting of where, but also when. So that's pretty impressive as well. Let's move forward to the point of view. All right, that point of view of who is telling that story. I heard a couple different ideas on this one, so it might be an interesting conversation here. Yes.
So we kind of thought it was someone that was told the story because they weren't too, exact on anything. So we thought it was someone that told the story, but like a lot, like kind of closer to where we are than where, like the time that they were.
So it's like someone retelling the story later on. I like that, a storyteller. All right. Will?
I kind of agree with Kendall, but I thought that it was more like
Just telling you what was happening at first. Just someone's giving you details, and then I think she's kind of narrating it. Kate's kind of narrating it at one point.
Uh-huh. Okay. So it may be a little bit of a mix. All right.
Probably more.
Tegan?
Well, I think it's one of Mighty Kate's friends or a family friend because who else would? Well, I read ahead a little because who else would have known that she was when she was first born? She picked up the doctor to see how much he weighed.
All right. So the evidence from the story is like they know these really specific details about Kate, including her birth story, lifting up that doctor. So it's someone that had to know about it. Can you guys agree that the person telling this story is not a character within the story itself? Yeah, and so we have a special name for that. Do you guys have an idea of what we call the point of view of someone outside the story telling it? Sylvia?
Spectator.
Oh, a spectator, someone watching. You could use that word to describe that.
Third person.
Third person. That's the technical term for the point of view of someone telling the story from outside. You're definitely a spectator. Sometimes we call them narrators, but narrators can be in the story as well. But third person narration is what we would call that because someone is telling the story from outside of it. Okay, another thing that you can tell by the language that's used in a story, you can tell what genre a story might be. Okay? And what I'm going to ask you to do right now is quietly reread paragraph 2. I want you to pull out specific language from that paragraph that helps you determine what genre of story this is. Chair, would you show me with the thumb? Then I'll know. You can just hold it right here, then I'll know you're ready. I think to keep moving forward, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is I'll take maybe some thumbs up that I see, and you can share, again, what genre you think it is, and then use a couple of the words to defend your answer from the text there. Okay? I want to wait for a couple more thumbs. So this question is for Greta, but this question is for everyone. I really loved everything Greta said. Greta, what words from paragraph 2 would support all that information you talked about? Because you talked about exaggeration. What might be some language there that would support that?
Well, mine's still downloading, but it says that she got a name on her on account of how unbelievably strong she was.
Unbelievably strong. So those two really good words there. Trace, you have some more words that go with that?
Like she wants the doctor picked her up to see how much she weighed, and she picked the doctor up to see how much she weighed.
Yeah, she picked the doctor up. That's right from the story, Absolutely. So it's definitely fiction, and we know about tall tale. So this is definitely tall tale as well. Yes, desks. You're going to open your reading response note in Notability. Okay? And you're going to respond to these two questions. What kind of stories do we tell, and why do we tell them? And you're going to answer that specifically talking about tall tales and using information and examples from Mighty Kate to support your answers. Any questions for the good of the order about what my... Okay, it's going to be a quick write. I'm going to give you a 5-minute time period to do that. All right, I'll come around and check in and see how you're doing, but you need to get right to work on your note. Okay? All right, see how fast you can get back there and get going.